Welcome back to Move Skill. Let's talk about L-sit today and how you're going to build that ability. So holding an L-sit is an awesome test of several different capabilities at once. One, of course, is the ability to pike in the middle or fold yourself in the middle under your own power. But also L-sit requires a nice, stable, strong shoulder support. So a couple of things going on at once. And in practice, when I'm balanced on these handles, when I'm just in a support position, when you're in just a support position, whether it's these handles, fixed handles or rings, your weight is hanging straight down like a pendulum at rest. And as you start to extend your legs in front, or perhaps partial leg extension in front if we're starting in a tuck, some of your mass is coming out front. So now this whole system's out of balance and you have to then lean back a little bit with your upper body or make some other accommodation. It takes a lot of strength here in your upper back between your shoulders to actually support that. A lot of times when people fail working on an L-sit, what's actually failing is tricep and muscles around your shoulder. So this is all good stuff. This is why this is worth doing. We're going to get a lot of bang for the buck working on L-sit. So let's talk about what do you have to do in order to get to this. A lot of times people can't even start with an L-sit. So first let's talk about the flexibility that you require. We have to be able to fold in the middle at least a 90-degree angle here. So a good test for yourself, a good test is to be able to sit on the ground, legs straight, push your knees straight, and sit up nice and tall, nice neutral spine, and hit at least a 90-degree angle here. For a lot of folks, we just ran into trouble, right? For a lot of you, you're going to have to do some remedial work to get to this point. And if you're at the point where you can sit at a 90-degree angle with a nice neutral spine and straight legs, that's good. If that's the best you can do, it's going to be hard to hold an L-sit. We want to have a little bit of reserve capacity here. You need to be able to hold more than a 90-degree, or I should say less than a 90-degree angle here at the hip with your legs straight without any kind of rounding of the back. So this is a baseline of flexibility for your hamstrings. If you don't have that, we have to work on this. If you can't hold a L-sit support position with your legs supported by the floor, there's no way you're going to be able to hold it when there is no support, right? So we have to start with that flexibility. Beyond that, we need some strength here in the abs, of course, but also in the quads and your hip flexors, right? So this ability to fold under your own strength in the middle is going to start with sit-ups and develop to knee to chest, and finally V-ups. We should be able to do a number of those, like sets of 8 on those, on the V-ups at least. And in fact, we're going to want to move from these floor-based exercises, which are fairly easy, relatively easy because they don't involve the shoulders at the same time. We need to move to hanging versions of this flex at the hip developer. And so we're talking hanging knee to chest, hanging leg raises, so we'll show you that. There's some variations you can do hanging from a bar, and these will help you develop the necessary ab strength, quad strength, hip flexor strength, and work on this pike position with a somewhat easier support position. In this case, you are hanging, which is a lot easier to do than holding yourself up. So from here, the progressions are first active hang, and then tuck position, partially extended, and fully extended. All right, so the same as you'll do end up doing on the support position on handles, you develop first the ability to get into these positions for say 1 second at a time, and then as you develop more strength and stamina, you'll extend those holds into longer and longer holds. So once we've established that you have the necessary minimums of flexibility and strength in the middle, then we start putting this together on first the fixed handles, which is what we'll show you in this video, but then you'll repeat this whole process on rings, and we'll develop this ability to support yourself on an unstable surface and pull yourself up into an L-sit. But on the fixed handles, this progression is going to start with first having a nice stable dip support position. So that part is the same step, developing L-sit and your dip. From here, we need to be able to maintain this strong shoulder support and start to pike in the middle. So now I'm bringing my knees up, and at first, I'm going to hold this tuck position for time. And from here, it's simply a matter of extending a little more weight out. I'm going to extend my legs a little piece at a time. I'll show you this in a couple of steps here. But I extend my knees from completely tucked to partially tucked to one leg straight and one leg tucked, eventually to both legs straight. So just to show those steps, from the dip support to a tuck, to a partial tuck, to even a less partial tuck, to extending one leg at a time, and eventually both legs at a time, and holding that for increasing periods of time. And like I said a moment ago, you will end up repeating all these steps on the rings. Typically you'll be 2 or 3 steps further along in your progression on the fixed handle than you are on the rings. So in other words, you don't want to wait until you're all the way developed on the fixed handle before you even start to play around on the rings. While I'm working on a partial tuck on my handles, I'll also be alternating that with maybe a tuck position or maybe just a support position on the rings. All right, a quick point here about standards of performance or points of performance that you're looking for while you're developing your L-sit process. First, like I said earlier, you have to have a good solid support position. If your arms are getting wobbly or your elbows are flexing and you're unstable in your shoulders, the whole package, your whole body is going to be unstable. So, nice, solid, hard, aggressive support position. The next point is that we've showed you a couple of different variations where you're in a tuck, your knees are tucked, your legs are maybe partially extended, and eventually legs are fully extended, which of course is the long-term goal. But as you develop this, stay away from this position. With your knees below your hands, right? One of the big goals we're trying to develop here is this range of motion, getting these knees up above your hips, above your hands. So start with that from your first variations on your hands here. Right from this tuck position, get these knees up above your hands and make sure as you extend your legs that you don't end up pulling the knee down. Then you're practicing a position that we really don't want to get into at all, right? So we've laid out a quick survey of how to progress into an L-sit and a little bit of the benefit you'll get out of doing this. Good luck with your training, and thanks.